And this is not an exercise you normally see on a TRX training program. I believe I made it up. I'm sure I saw it somewhere, but I don't see it very often on social media. So we're going to go over this exercise together because I believe it's one of the best exercises to improve your shoulder mobility and increase your shoulder strength without putting too much strain on your shoulder joints. All right, so today I'm going to be talking to you 50-plus-year-olds. We're going to be talking about how we can strengthen your body, maintain your strength, prevent osteoporosis, osteopenia with a few exercises that will help you maintain your mobility, strength, and of course, balance. Now, as I said, it's very important for you to maintain your strength, maintain your bone density as you age, because as we know, as you age, your bone density decreases. So we're going to show you a few exercises, 4 to be exact, 2 lower body, and then we'll transition up to some upper body exercises that you can do that help you prevent osteopenia and osteoporosis. So as I was saying before, yeah, you want to prevent osteopenia, osteoporosis. You want to do it with some resistance training. What that is essentially putting a load on your joints and your muscles, and that's going to help you strengthen those muscles, and that's going to help you build that bone density, because your body is going to say, look, we're putting a load on our joints. We need to make sure that we maintain mass in those areas that are obviously taking on the brunt of the load. So first we're going to show you a leg exercise. This is called a squat. Now listen, the reason why we're doing these exercises on the TRX is because I believe it's the best way to introduce you to a fitness training program. See, what you're doing with the TRX is you're moving your body through space, and that's essentially what functional training is. You don't want to move your body in ways that are not natural, especially as you age, because it's important that you practice movements that are going to be functional, okay? So the other reason why we're using a TRX, besides the fact that it's just awesome all around, is that it unloads your body weight into the anchor point. So these movements, these functional movements that you're going to be executing are going to be a little bit easier because you're not going to be using you're not going to be loading up your entire body weight into your muscles. 25% of it gets transferred into the anchor point. So that means that you're going to be able to execute these movements a lot easier than you would in everyday life. And then if you can do them here, then obviously it's going to translate into you being able to do them more efficiently everywhere else in the world. So as I said, first and foremost, we're going to start off with a squat. All right, you're going to start off with your hands in front of your armpits. You're going to be standing upright. You're going to bring your tailbone back and down. All right, a lot of people, when they do this motion, they actually bring their tailbone down first, and that's going to make them shoot their knees forward and execute the motion with their knees. So what you want to do is you want to actually bring your tailbone back first. That's the first motion. That's called a hip hinge. Okay, very important that we learn that. We've actually talked about that in quite a few videos in our library. So if you're subscribed, you'll know where to find it. And you're going to, again, take your tailbone back, and then you're going to try to keep your shoulders over your hips as you bring your hips down in line with your knees. Okay, so you're going to end up at 90 degrees with your hips and 90 degrees with your knees. And then you're going to stand back up by pushing through your heels. Now, the awesome thing is, because you're doing it in this position, you can also get a little assistance from your arms. So if you can't get quite down to 90 degrees, okay, if you're right about here or so, a little bit above 90, and you can't really get back up, you can always use your arms to pull you back up, okay? Great exercise. Now, the next exercise we're going to do is going to be working on your balance. I call this a single leg bend over, but it's also in technical terms called a single leg Romanian deadlift, okay? So I call it a single leg bend over because we're not lifting, we're not using a weight, we're actually just working on the motion and making sure we're executing it with all the proper muscles. So you're going to have this, as you saw, I shorten the straps so they're all the way up to the top, all right? And we're going to have your hands, and not the handles, but the foot strap. That's the fabric part, all right? This very lower part of the TRX. You're going to take one foot off the ground. You're going to reach that leg back, and you're going to reach your arms straight forward in front of you. This is similar to what they call Warrior 3 in yoga, okay? Now, the goal here is with this motion is you're going to try to make sure that your hips stay square. A lot of people turn their hips as they execute this motion. You want to stay engaged in your hips as well as your inner thigh and your core, and prevent that turning of that hip as you go down with your hands, okay? This is a great balance exercise. It helps you stand on one foot. It helps you to execute anything that you normally would execute with one foot, such as walking, Standing, obviously, you're going to need 1 foot at a time. Not all the time, obviously, because when you're standing on 2 feet, but as you're transitioning from your walk into your stand, you want to make sure you have that good balance. And of course, it's winter time, so the ice is out there, and the ice is obviously not a very stable surface. So you want to have that balance. So now the next exercise, as I said, we're going to transition into upper body. So we're going to do what's called a shoulder press. And this is not an exercise you normally see on a TRX training program. I believe I made it up. I'm sure I saw it somewhere, but I don't see it very often on social media. So we're going to go over this exercise together because I believe it's one of the best exercises to improve your shoulder mobility and increase your shoulder strength without putting too much strain on your shoulder joints. Okay, so an exercise, a shoulder press in the gym that uses dumbbells would actually be something that really puts a enormous strain on the shoulders because of the fact that you are loading a weight directly on your shoulders. Now with this movement, because you're not exactly standing straight up, you're at a somewhat of an angle, you can work your muscles, and because of the fact that you have your body supporting you, you can actually work that range of motion and work your muscles to the full range of motion without worrying about too much strain on your shoulder. So again, we're going to go into the shoulder press. You're going to start off with your elbows up, okay? A lot of people I see that when they actually do this exercise, they start with their elbows down, but you want your elbows up so you're loading your shoulders, and you want your abs engaged, all right? So you don't want to stick your butt out, all right? You don't want to be hinging at the hips. You want to have your abs engaged, pushing your feet down into the floor. You're going to push your arms straight up over your head, and then you're going to come right back down, okay? Now, it might not seem like on paper, it doesn't look like a very difficult exercise, but I guarantee you, you bang out 10 reps of these, and you'll be feeling your shoulders. You'll get a good pump in the rear delts, that's the back of your shoulders, as well as the rear part of your traps, that's the top of your shoulders, right at the base of your neck. You really feel these working. So I would highly suggest if you have a TRX or access to a TRX, that you try this exercise out. Again, it does on paper, it doesn't look very strenuous. I'm already actually starting to feel it, believe it or not. So definitely shoulders. And for our last exercise, we're going to do something that's going to help you strengthen up your pecs and your triceps. Now, some people don't have the ability to do that previous exercise, the shoulder press, because of their shoulder mobility is already kind of shot. So here's a great way to strengthen both your shoulders, your pecs, and your triceps without bringing your arms over your head. It's called a press. All right. So I actually have these a little shorter than I would like to. I'm not going to adjust it for time's sake, but we're going to have our hands starting in line with our chest. We're going to make sure that our abs are engaged, not letting those hips tilt, and not going to hinge that pelvis like we talked about earlier. Abs engaged, feet are pressed down into the floor. We're going to lower our body down so our chest goes right in between our hands, and we're going to come right back up. Now, the goal here on this exercise, obviously, is to lower your body down and, of course, come back up. But you also want to make sure that you're trying to keep your hands as steady as possible. That makes it a proprioceptive exercise. We've talked about this before. Proprioception is those secondary muscles that actually help support those bigger muscles. And when you have strong proprioception, that means you have great balance and great stability in your movements. All right, so again, we're going to be lowering our body down, trying to keep those hands as steady as possible. Now, another thing we want to focus on when we're executing this motion, you're going to be pushing your heels down into the floor. So many times I see people here on their tippy toes, meaning that their core is not engaged. All their weight is in their hands and in their toes. You want to push those heels down. That way you have to engage your abdominals. And you don't have that tendency to let your tailbone stick out. And then you're going to push yourself back up. Again, trying to keep those hands as steady as possible. All right, so hopefully these exercises give you a better idea of how to use your TRX, or if you don't have your own TRX, how to use a TRX wherever you have it located, whether it be a gym, a friend's house, or in your fitness center, in your apartment. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you'd like to see more demonstrations of exercises on this channel, I'd love for you to click on that subscribe button down below, or at least write your comments down below. And I will definitely do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Of course, I'd love for you to make sure that those comments are thoughtful and insightful. I don't want to see any comments out there that are just saying whatever. You know, of course, we try to keep it on the up and up here, and we want to make sure that we're keeping good company, right? So, yeah, hopefully this brought you value. As I said, feel free to share this with others that you might also think might find value with this. And, of course, as always, keep good company. you.